Hello tarot lovers and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth and on this channel we talk about building your spiritual confidence so you can listen to your intuition and read your tarot cards with ease. And today we are going to be talking about the Wheel of Fortune. I'm going to be taking a deep dive into this Rider-Waite-Smith card. We're going to be looking at the Hebrew letter correspondence, the numerology, the astrology, the general meaning, and the symbolism which is all over this card. This card is so rich in symbolism. There's a lot to talk about. So how about I spin the camera around and let's take a look at this card. We are going to be looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So the deck I'm using, of course, is my giant Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is sensational if, like me, you're not really good with your vision and you like to have something a little bit bigger so you can see the detail, or you're a tarot teacher and you want to have a lovely big deck to teach with. The other deck that I recommend for you that you'll see today when I pull the cards out is this little deck. It is a great deck to start learning the tarot, even if it's not the ultimate deck you read from. It certainly gives you a wonderful, wonderful grounding in which to learn the tarot. I'm going to be using my Symbolism cheat sheets. Now, I created these. I actually first created this cheat sheet, which is a very basic cheat sheet that I put together basically to help people who wanted to have just something they could look at that would give them that basic knowledge about the card. Then I made a worksheet, which I've gone over right at the very beginning when I first started doing all this series on the tarot symbolism. So I'll make sure I put a link in the comments and in the description box for you so that you can click on it and go and watch the video where you see how to use this worksheet, because it's designed to help you understand the symbolism and also then sort of process that symbolism into your own meaning, if that makes sense. And then the last sheet, which is the one I'll be working from today, is the Wheel of Fortune card symbolism sheet that sort of brings everything together. This is the sheet that I designed really because I knew when I was going to do all this symbolism that you would all say, but we want the symbolism notes that you've used to do your video. And I'd say, oh, I haven't got them. So I put them all together for you so that you would have them. So there's this side, which has all the Golden Dawn symbolism, and I use the Golden Dawn symbolism mainly because the tarot evolved, and you will find so many opinions on the web. There really is no right or wrong answer, but as a teacher I've got to have some kind of yardstick, and so I use the Golden Dawn because they were the organization that first made sense of the tarot. There was a man by the name of Etiella who was the very first person to use the tarot that we know of as divination. And then there's Eliphas Levi and many other writers after that time who really looked at the symbolism within the deck. And then it was the Golden Dawn who went on and looked at all those writings and made sense of it. So that's the symbolism that I use. So I'm going to put these sheets here so I can refer to them and you can see them as I'm speaking. And then we're going to look at the Wheel of Fortune. So the first thing I like to start with, I'm actually going to mention before, I normally start with numerology, but I'm actually going to mention that the Golden Dawn title for this card is the Lord of the Forces of Life. So this is a card about how the wheel of life turns. And oh my goodness, we've got so much symbolism to look at today. And it is really pertinent that this card is just so rich in symbolism because, of course, our lives as we progress through them have so much symbolism within them. The numerology of this card This card, of course, we know is number 10. And in numerology, we reduce numbers down. So when a number is more than one number, or the first primary numbers 0 to 9 that we give the most attention to in numerology, we reduce it down. So 1 and 0 is 1. So if we think about this particular card, we're thinking about, if we think about correspondences in the tarot, new beginnings, which is one, or spiritual power is 1. It's about having everything you need. You've got everything you need here. You've got the 4 elements. You've got the wand, the cup, the sword, and the pentacle that take you into all of the elements of life. And you're going to challenge that energy channel that energy from sky to earth. And I have done a deeper dive into the symbolism of this card. But in relation to the Wheel of Fortune, we're looking at this idea of spiritual power, taking your power into your own hands, and new beginnings. Then we look at the Fool, and the Fool is about the universal energy, everything and nothing altogether, and this idea of only taking with you what you need and leaving behind what you don't. So we've got 2 cards here, the Magician and the Fool, making 1 and 0 or 10, which is culminated in 1, which is this idea of new beginnings, new energy, new starts, and this idea that we're stepping out into life. The Hebrew letter that is correspondent to this card is Kaf. Now, I do apologize for my pronunciation. I have researched the Hebrew letters and come up with the best way to describe what they mean, because the meanings are often very esoteric and hard to understand. The reason I want to talk about the Hebrew letters is because if you start to do a deeper dive into any of the cards, the Hebrew letters are always talked about, and because it gives you a deeper understanding of the card. And the Hebrew letter Kaf corresponds to a fist, and those correspondences come from what the letter sort of resembles. And they're saying here that the letter resembles sort of bringing your hands together into a fist. So the saying that goes along with the Hebrew letter Kaf is, I'm ready to receive the emotion of others. So the idea is we're looking at how we shape our hands and whether we can shape our hands in a way that is ready to receive both negativity and positivity, and how we can bring those things into reality to impact our lives in a positive way. Because it's not so much what happens to us in our life, but it's what we do about it. And of course, in Kabbalah, in Hebrew, in fact, in many religions, that idea of your hands and using your hands to shape your world is such a huge image. And of course, the Wheel of Fortune is that card about karma. It's that card about how life impacts you. If we look at the Hebrew letter on the Kabbalah Tree of Life, we're looking at it being between Chesed, which is mercy, and victory, which is Netzach. So this idea that you can take your victories, but do so with mercy, do so in a way that reflects on you positively. The traditional meaning of the card, I'll come back to that in a minute. I want to talk about the classical element. Now, the classical element of this card is fire. So we're looking at our strength, our activity, our blood, our life force. It's about what we do. So we're looking at, if we're looking at minor arcana, we're looking at the wands, the action cards. What action are we taking out there in the world? The planet that's associated with the Wheel of Fortune, and again, this is a Golden Dawn association, is the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter is about growth, it's about healing, it's about expansion, prosperity. Jupiter is a real planet of expansion. And of course, the Wheel of Fortune is about going out into your life and living it and expanding. So that is your planetary association. And of course, the traditional meaning of this card, we're looking at luck, karma, and our destiny, and how we create our own luck, that we need to be bold, we need to take the initiative, and we need to embrace change, whatever that change is. And of course, in the reverse meaning, we're looking at life going out of control, misfortune, problems, and chaos. All right, let's open up the actual symbolism of this card. So you will see there's a lot to talk about here. There are 4 astrological signs here. Now, these astrological signs are the fixed signs of the zodiac. So there is a fixed, cardinal, and mutable. And when I do finally do my series on astrology and teach you astrology, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell because I've got so much more to teach you yet. But our modality is fixed, or we're looking at the stubborn or the more grounded and immovable personality type that is sitting in the corner of this card. And of course, that's the learning of the lion, which is Leo, the bull, which is Taurus, the angel, which is Aquarius, which is not the usual symbol for Aquarius, but it is a symbol that can be used, and the eagle for Scorpio, which of course we know is also not the usual symbol, but is also a symbol that can be used. And you can see that they're sitting in grey clouds, and we know that grey clouds in the tarot symbolize confusion. So there could be, you're either sitting in confusion, or if you think about the aces, the hand is coming through the confusion to offer you some clarity. So these 4 signs are not in color, they're just in yellow. So they're working through. So it's showing that you're halfway through the major arcana and you are working through the life lessons you need to learn. And the fixed signs, of course, are those signs that probably have the least movability in their personality, and so they are the signs that probably need to do in terms of flexibility in their lives, probably the most growth. So if we look at then the actual, so the sky behind is showing clarity, because we know blue sky is clarity, but the 4 signs are sitting in the grey clouds. So then we have the wheel, and there are 3 entities sitting on the wheel. You've got Anubis, you've got a snake, and you've got a sphinx with a sword. So what does all that mean? So the sphinx is a symbolism of mystery, of knowledge, and it also symbolizes the 4 elements of fire, water, air, and earth. And so it is a symbol on this card of both unity and diversity. This idea of living your life is about going out there and experiencing it all and giving yourself opportunities for growth. The snake, and again, we're going to move this way around the wheel because astrologically we move widdershins or in anti-clockwise. So then we see the snake, and the snake is symbolic of the Egyptian god Seth in this particular card. So the snake can represent evil, but in other cards, such as the Lover's card, the snake represents knowledge. In this card, it's about negative or the negative or downward passage of the Wheel of Fortune. So we're looking here at when things go wrong in this particular card. Then you have, this is Anubis, and Anubis is the Egyptian god with the head of a dog and the body of a jackal. And he accompanies souls on their way through to reincarnation. So this symbol talks about the positive process of the transition of life. And if we think of transitions, we think of card number 13, which is the death card, which shows how we transition through, birth, life, and death. Let's have a look at the actual card, the actual wheel itself. And the wheel itself has got some Latin letters on it. It has tarot, T-A-R-O, and that represents the law of Hathor, the Egyptian goddess of destiny. It could also be argued that it is reflective of tarot or the whole deck or the book of knowledge. And if we look at the High Priestess, we see here she has the same etiation of letters, T-O-R-A, which in this instance is about the scroll of knowledge. Here we have T-A-R-O. Then we have Hebrew letters. So we have Y-A-R-O. Goodness me. I haven't written down which ones are each of these. Actually, that's a yod. So that's probably Y-H-V-H. And these represent the unspeakable name of God, Yahweh, or the four elements. So you've got this idea of Yahweh or God, or what I call the universal energy, being that sense of everything and nothing at once. So the idea that the wheel of life is going to turn and you can't control it. All you can control is what you put out there into the universe. You've then got alchemist letters here, which are, and these are actually also on, they're also here on the magician's table, along the edge of the table. And if you want to know more about those, I go over those in my video on the symbolism of the magician. But we are looking at the four elements. So we are looking at, water, salt, air, and earth. So they are the four elements, or what we would commonly call air, fire, water, and earth. So they're there to remind us that the Wheel of Fortune actually covers everything. When we think about the classical elements, they represent everything that everything is made of. So again, symbolic of the Wheel of Fortune and being in that space of representing the way the world is, the way the world turns. 3 circles. Now we know that the traditional symbol for spirit is circular. So again, spirit overarching everything. The central circle, there's a central circle, there is and then the outer circle, and then the very outer circle. So we're looking at 3 circles with a central hub in the middle, which represent essentially the 4 stages of expansion of the world, the multiplicity, and this idea of our inner and outer worlds. So lots and lots here. The orange symbolism of the wheel itself is to do with confusion. So red is passion, and yellow is often about clarity or enthusiasm in overdrive. So this idea of the confusion or that is around the Wheel of Fortune. And I think that's everything. I think I've covered everything. I actually watched someone do a review of this card, and they said, oh, there's a whole lot of symbolism, but I don't think it's really relevant to talk about. And yet for me, looking at that symbolism and understanding what it actually means is so helpful to really understanding the deeper meaning of this card. So that is the Wheel of Fortune. I have so enjoyed talking to you about it. I do hope you've enjoyed my presentation of the symbolism. It is a really, really deep card, and I'm sure there is even more on there that I haven't spoken about. If you like my videos, don't forget to give them a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.